Hi guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast with me, Alex Whiteley. Today we are coming from Soulton Hall, the third time we've been to Soulton Hall for the third amazing art exhibition that we've been to. The first one, Sam Pooley Stride. The second one was Jacob Chandler, and today we have got Lucy Caddel, who you may remember was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. And what we talked about was this exhibition, the Pomegranate's Legacy, which we got invited to. And alas, we were there. So I got about half an hour's worth of audio from that event, which was a little bit less than I like to get. So we're going to flesh this intro out for about 10 minutes to talk about the context of Soulton Hall and its importance, because we've talked about Soulton Hall. I've talked to Tim about Soulton Hall. We've been at Soulton Hall, but why? Why are we at that building so much? And what is its significance to Shropshire? Well, I am going to have a go at explaining some of the history of what this building is before we've done our feature at the venue, at the amazing hall. We've been invited by Tim. It's long overdue. We definitely need to do it. So I'm going to try and be a history teacher. I've never taught history before, not qualified. So apologies in advance to anybody from Soulton Hall, any historians listening to this that may have a bit of a cringe. I'm not a qualified historian. Don't try and sue me, okay? Because I'm just spitting facts that I'm reading from the computer, if I'm honest. So I'm going to try and add some context on Soulton Hall and to why it's important. I can't do it by myself, though, so I need a bit of ambience. Let's try a bit of Tchaikovsky. Beautiful. There we go. So what do we know about Soulton Hall? Soulton Hall's history centres on Sir Rowland Hill, who built the house in the 1550s as a coded Renaissance manor to secretly support the Protestant Reformation, publishing the influential Geneva Bible from its hidden base. The hall, with its symbolic architecture, served as a secret haven, an operational centre for politically dangerous activities during a turbulent era, influencing Shakespeare's As You Like It and continuing its legacy in innovation through agriculture advancements and cultural initiatives today. Built in the 1550s, it was a significant architectural project designed with humanist codes, classical philosophy and scriptural references. It served as a clandestine headquarters for the publication and distribution of the Geneva Bible, a revolutionary Protestant text, and sanctuary for those in peril. The house contains concealed elements like a chapel and a priest's hide, and a floor known as a rifmamotia for, I think I got that right, reflecting its secret purpose. It was a setting for Sir Rowland Hill's story that was linked to Shakespeare's play As You Like It, which draws inspiration from the estate and its owners. After the Tudor period, the estate became home to an influential early model farm, continuing a tradition of progressive land management. I want to go into another website now and focus on the Long Barrow. The landscape holds the recently constructed Soulton Long Barrow, which revives an architectural form not seen for thousands of years. In the precincts of the house is a dancing pavement, which is thought to show the choreography of a dance of harmony that closes As You Like It, with a view of the woodland associated with the Arden Forest of Arden setting in the play. The current hall would have only been the cordial logis of the wider complex of Sir Rowland Hill's time. This complex has survived in a muted form and today includes a 17th century courtroom with round windows, the venue of an aborted witch trial in the late 1600s. Now this place is beautiful. Okay, where's kill the music? I'm not reading from the website anymore. It is beautiful. If you've never been to Soulton Hall, I absolutely recommend you go and take a look. Because even just the barn where we were last night for this podcast, where I've been again for two other times as well. It's beautiful. It's a barn, but it's a 16th century barn that's been turned into such a beautiful building that is such an amazing space for art to be exhibited. So I would absolutely recommend, if you ever get to go to an event there, please go to an event there. Go to the Long Barrow as well. And it's an ancient burial site that's been rejuvenated into such a place of peace and tranquility. I have always said, I told Tim, I want to record there one day. I want to set up a studio in the middle of that Long Barrow and just sit and quietly talk. I don't know if that would be appropriate or not, but I think that's nice to have nice wishes, isn't it? But I definitely want to take some mics, maybe the H6, which is a portable microphone, so we can have a good walk around and see what the secrets that the building's got to offer. Camera might be nice, but then again, walking around someone's house with a camera might be a bit weird. Ladies and gentlemen, I've fleshed this out for a few minutes. I don't think I'll be able to do 10. Because that's just weird. You want to get on with the episode, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle around to the episode. I'll join you guys at the end, so I'm going to tell you what's going on with other podcasts we got coming up. And I will, yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pomegranate's Legacy, coming to you from Soulton Hall. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys at the end. Enjoy. Coming to you from Soulton Hall, which for I think the third art exhibition I've been to here. The first one was Sam Pooley's Droid, second one with Jacob Chandler, now with Lucy Caddel. It's a little joke because we made a real funny joke about names, because obviously I get Whitley and Whiteley, she gets Caddel and Caddel, and we made that joke at the beginning of the podcast. And I released a podcast from a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of butchered a name on the readout. But to be fair, I was up editing till about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was that last moment before I went to bed when I wrote the readout and then scheduled it out. So, sorry, Lucy, for that one. But hey, we mentioned that we'd be here to learn about art, pomegranates, and Soulton Hall, and geometry, maths, shapes. We're here to learn today. And I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for the invite, Lucy and Tim, and let's go and find some interesting artsy people to speak to. This is going to be a grand episode of the Shrewsbury Biscuit, coming to you from Soulton Hall. Let's go. Right, so we can't come to Soulton Hall without talking to Tim. How are you? You good?
Well, thank you, yes. Yeah, good to see you again.
Third event I've been to here with the arts. We had a really good conversation last time with Jacob Chandler.
Yeah.
What does the local art scene mean to you? As a recap, what does this mean to you have this here at Soulton Hall today?
Well, Shropshire has a lot of artistic talent in different directions. It's a lovely thing that we have space here where we can platform people. Lucy has done a number of works prior to this show being set up that were looking at pomegranates and fruit. My family would like to have the opportunity. Well, we thought that was art we wanted to platform, but it was an interesting thing that she was already looking at that, because there were classical ideas to do with Demeter and Persephone and Eleusis, which allows some engagement with some of the codes that were put in the house in the 16th century to be talked about in a more natural way than like just trying to start a conversation about like mathematics, rhombic dodecahedrons and ideas from ancient Greece, which is what Soulton Hall is trying to talk to people about. But Lucy is doing lots of things, retrospective work and everything else, but especially commissioned work in here is helping it make it more natural to talk about some of these mysteries, in the sense of things that have been hidden but can be talked about.
I think it's really interesting that our early ancestors were looking at complex mathematics and how it fits in the natural world. I think when we look at our ancestors, like I said, we think of them as very simple, but they weren't. They were very complex mathematicians and artists.
Basically, so humans are really diverse, and we all might have some friend who's really like nerdy and into maths, or someone else who's really into dance, or someone else who's really into visual arts. And those types of people have always been with us, and they just do their thing. So eventually, it would not take very long for people, once they've achieved, it would not take people very long to gravitate to maths if that's their jam, and they would then want to get that socially reproduced, and they might want to do that via art, via dance, via theatre, or via philosophy.
Philosophy is a great way of, like, I think, enticing people in and telling good stories about these things, because as artificial as mathematics may look, it's all natural. It's all part of the universe. It's all what makes up everything. You know, it's interesting to think about how that fits into society as it moves on.
Well, I'm not an elite mathematician myself.
No, me neither.
But I can see how people get really fired up about it, and how it has like explanatory force that people find exciting.
Yeah, sure.
And then people might see allegories in it as well, which I think at different times they have done. And people are always looking for meaning and finding it in hopefully healthy things for the most part. And maths it's just true, isn't it? The square root of 2 can't be argued against.
And last time I spoke to you, we talked about the growing art scene in Shropshire, Shrewsbury mainly, because we were talking about Shrewsbury and Wem. Now, there is a lot going on. How do you hone in on a certain type of artist that you'd like to exhibit here at Soulton Hall? How can you, like, thin the herd? How do you find a person like Lucy to bring here? Is it just by chance you just find her art?
No, whether you can really crystallise this into a structured answer. There's a level of like curatorial connoisseurship. I don't want to sound too pretentious here. Like, Lucy was already doing something that we found interesting.
And it just fell in.
It was not much of a change in speed and direction to articulate some adjacent things. So Jacob, likewise, you know, he's a superb artist, and we wanted to do some work with the dance that's in As You Like It, which got people to concentrate on it and think about what it was trying to carry. And Jacob's style, like a lot of the quite, to my taste, syrupy early 20th century, late Victorian art around As You Like It was a bit off-putting, and it makes it feel quite a fusty and old-fashioned play. And Jacob's stuff being more geometric and like relevant somehow made it possible to look at the play with new eyes. And Sam Pooley's stride, she did her first show, the police were called to one of her shows.
Oh, I love that. I was there.
And the general level of badassery in that is something I have respect for, right? And she was doing some work at the time about the moon and moon landings and whether or not there was illusion and reality. And I don't know. People's stuff speaks to you.
How do people come across art? I mean, it's one of those things. It moves you. It's irrelevant. It's what is around you at the time, and that what creates, I guess, a reaction out of you. That's what art is. It's what moves you, right?
Yes, and sometimes it can be a bit political and propositional, and sometimes also it can be confrontational and challenging to engage with. So, Nice, brilliant.
Well, I'm glad to be here today. Thank you to Lucy for bringing. Yeah, honestly, I love this place. I love what you're doing for art in this county. I think you're giving people something to strive towards. I think to have art exhibited here.
I went to the Sweeney recently. Did a first art show for a joint show with I think 3 contributors. But I think seeing people who have platforms and spaces, and then being imaginative and allowing a little bit of it's a virtuous cycle. It nourishes everybody. But I was really thrilled to go to that. I was in Harvington Hall, which I know is outside Shropshire, but earlier this week they did an amazing immersive play around the bonfire night stuff. So it was on bonfire night, but you basically they just created the scenes and you were inside them of that whole story. It was amazing. Wow. Those tickets sell like hotcakes. I'm pretty sure that those tickets have all gone. They went within hours of being released for next year. But that was incredible. So people are doing amazing things, and there is a funding issue within Shropshire. I'm aware that we get like 17 times less money from the Arts Council, I think, for art in Shropshire compared to Warwickshire. Which is so like private interests standing up whilst that inequality is there is a useful thing to meet that unfairness.
looking at the creatives in Shrewsbury, that's kind of criminal, or Shropshire, I should say. It's criminal because there's so much excitement going on here.
Also, we have an elite cultural identity, but we just don't talk about it well enough to get the central money. We need to up our game to get more attention, to get more support. But I'm just telling you that inequality is there. It's a problem. Some people are aware of it and trying to work on it. But to be fair, the Royal Shakespeare Company is in Warwickshire, and we don't punch at that level, but there's no reason why we can't.
Yeah, sure. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for putting this on today. Always great to start. We haven't done this feature episode yet. You invited me around your house, and I haven't been around yet. I've been so busy, honestly, with real life stuff. But maybe we should organise it for the next month or so. Maybe I can come out.
I look forward to it. You've got my email.
I do. So whenever there's an event like this and we bump into the mayor, we've got to come and say hello to me, Mr. Alex Wagner. How are you?
Very well. This is an absolutely wonderful way to be spending a Saturday evening as well. It's really good turnout.
Last time we were speaking, we were on a bridge.
We were on a bridge. We were on Greyfriars Bridge with John, who you then went off and had an excellent interview with. And I do listen to the podcast, so I can...
Did you hear that interview died?
Oh, no, really?
So everything that I did on the bridge and in House Coffee was on this microphone, and then transferred over to my computer. And I think what's happened is, before it's finished doing what it's meant to be doing, I've deleted it, so it disappeared forever. So me and John had to redo that interview.
Well, I know that you managed to keep the photos and videos though, because I've seen them.
Yes.
I've said it's the only time I've been in the mayoral train not wearing a sort of suit and tie, but I think rules are meant to be broken, aren't they? So,
absolutely, we did a good job that day, didn't we?
Absolutely, and well, it's a different form of paint, of course, we're looking at now. Isn't that a good segue?
Absolutely, that's a good segue. Representing art like this in Wem, in Shropshire, Shrewsbury as well, what does that mean to you as mayor? Does it inspire you?
I think it's hugely important. So I'm a huge supporter of our arts community. We're really lucky in Shrewsbury to have a genuinely, alive, vibrant, buzzing arts community. Obviously, this is an event by SADA, who do an incredible bit of work as well. What I think they've tried to capture here with the Pomegranate link is a lot of the intricacies of Soulton Hall. I think it's an exciting time here. Tim Ashton, who I know, the owner, has been doing some really interesting work about the history of the place, the links to Shakespeare, and also some of the interesting sort of parts of Rowland Hill's life. He was the man who built it, was Mayor of London, an MP, and all sorts of other things. So the links this place is bringing together, and seeing it in good use and seeing people learn a bit more about the history is pretty special.
We need to do more. It's nice to have this art here, and this is the third exhibition I've been to here. But I feel like, how do we get more people to know about this amazing place? I mean, it is beautiful, isn't it? It really is.
Let's keep going and keep talking about it. And I think that there's some exciting stuff possibly coming up. Tim was telling me about. I won't breach any confidences, but I think there's a little national interest in this place now, more than there ever has been, because of some interesting theological discoveries that they've been looking at. So I think it's just about talking about it, patronising it. I see it as part of my job to come along and make sure people in Shropshire know that this is happening on our doorstep. We should be a part of it. And I always say, whenever I've been at any of the arts events, this is a SADA, but whenever I've been at Bellevue Arts Festival or any others, it relies on people, like people listening to this, turning up and going out and spending a little bit of money on a glass of Prosecco to keep things going and having a good evening of it, because without that it all dies. And we are really lucky in Shrewsbury to have more of this than the average.
Yeah, I think it takes some real passion to really push your creative side, because it's not always that easy to balance your life out in that way. I can speak from experience. So to be able to be an artist that puts food on the table, continues to inspire, sometimes it takes a little bit of help, right?
Absolutely. And Lucy Caddel, who's the amazing artist whose exhibition this is, I know she does a huge amount of work on just that, and actually I think she's doing some classes and some learning soon on how to use gold leaf and other interesting techniques that you can see at the exhibition. So I think it's the thing with art is any expression is valid expression and good expression. It's just about kind of making the most of it and getting it going, and I think Lucy in particular and a lot of her colleagues are doing a brilliant job of that.
Brilliant. What do you think about her actual art? I mean, would you hang this up on your wall? It's quite colourful, isn't it?
I definitely would put these on my walls, and I think some of the stuff that I've really liked is the pomegranate with gold leaf. Obviously, Persephone and the pomegranate, there's a bit of a classical reference there. I think some of this is pretty gorgeous. It's also actually pretty affordable, It's we're not talking absurd prices here. We are talking people might be willing.
One there over there is £450, which is
There's 125 up there. So actually, considering the work that goes in and the fact that these are gorgeous bespoke paintings, I think that's pretty good value actually. And I'd be lying to you to say I haven't even considered it off the wall this evening.
I do love Lucy's work. We had her on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, very recent guest, and I said I would come, bring a microphone, speak to people at this event because I want to see people's reaction to the art, and I think it is quite moving. It's quite nice to be able to feel happy and about the colours and the thing, because sometimes art, you got to use your brain a little bit, haven't you? Whereas this, you kind of just really just flow with it, I think. Exactly,
and the grand painting at the end here, which is going to be a permanent fixture at Soulton Hall, commissioned by Tim. I think just speaking to Lucy then, she was saying it's got all these items from Soulton and that Tim has been doing brilliant work on the history and theology to uncover. It's kind of like a portrait without a person, you know. It's actually tells you a lot about the people behind Soulton who've done an incredible job of, I think, bringing a lot of history to light, which wouldn't have been done otherwise. So I really like that concept of painting the person without any direct depiction. I think that's some incredible expression, really.
Yeah, that's what we talked about with Lucy, about these grouped images. These are what represents a human being. Like, this is what the important parts of your life. They may mean something that you may look at and interpret differently, but that is art in itself. I love that.
Well, likewise, and it's so personal and so gorgeous, and it's I think we're really lucky to have this here.
Right, we need to arrange a feature interview because we haven't done that yet. Yeah?
Absolutely. Whenever you've got.
I thought you were whispering like, I'm not. Absolutely not, Alex. Absolutely.
No, 100%. Whenever you've got the time. We're both busy, I think, but we can find the.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll find it. Alex, always great chatting to you. Thank you so much. So I found Lucy. We've spoke to a few people today.
What did they say?
Oh, they were terrified. They were like, this is awful. I'm going home. It's too much colour. So walking into a kaleidoscope, I heard.
Yes, well, it is. It's quite full on, isn't it? The colours are full on. The UV is full on. But we did try and make it so that, you know, we have low lighting, and Kate Parslow, who's an interior designer, she used lamps to give it a feeling of maximalism so that people could imagine some of these paintings in their own home as well, because it's quite an incredible location. You know, it's
beautiful, isn't it?
It's a 17th century barn on a medieval footprint, you know, so it is, you know, it's an amazing venue, and I'm just glad I had enough work to put into it, because I think it's such a massive room, and
you did all right, actually.
Yeah, and the commission as well, because it's 12 foot long. I think I was really pleased it looked good in the space. So, and people have been very nice about it, which is great.
Did you listen back to the episode that we did?
I did, yeah. It was really interesting to say, the things that I said, I was like, oh, okay, right, or everything I said was valid, and, the kind of things that I wanted to tell you about. So it's really interesting, because I think I talked about the Salopian Open, and we're setting that up next week. So we've had a completely crazy time. This exhibition this week, we've got the Salopian Open starting next week, and it was good because some of the judges came this evening, so they've it was good to chat to them. And
I spoke to Tim and I spoke to Alex Wagner. And
he's bought a painting.
And I saw him sneaking out of his painting. We were having a conversation.
One of my pieces in his house.
That could be my fault, actually, because I was we were talking about how reasonable the prices are. He's not charging thousands, are you? You're making it reasonable for people.
No, yeah, well, I think art should be affordable. I'm a big believer in, making art egalitarian for all, and I think, if I make a small piece, it doesn't need a massive price on it, and also, I like to make pieces that people will have in their house. I think we talked about it before, like kitchen art, it's nice. It's nice. So, hi, Steph. It's really nice to see so many people here. It's a bit like a wedding. It's a bit like having.
You have to get around them, please. Yeah,
I know, but it's like that thing of I knew I was going to feel like this. That beforehand I was absolutely terrified for the last 2 days. I've been quite on edge, but then today it's just and I know it's going to go like a blink, and you haven't talked to everyone and haven't seen everything.
That's why it's good you got the biscuit here to document these things.
Document it. It's great. But it's really lovely to see he's made the effort, and because it is, obviously it's not in Shrewsbury. We're out in Wem, deepest darkest Wem, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful location, but it's nice to see he's made the effort to come.
It's nice that we got a place like Soulton Hall that is in the middle of Wem, in the middle of nowhere, but. Yeah. has such a striking
identity.
Yeah,
and he throws his doors open as well, really regularly, and just tours of the Long Barrow, tours of the house, and it's really exciting to hear Tim's plans for the future. He's looking at having artist studios and like a cafe, and so it's going to be more of a destination location, which is great.
It's really cool. It's cool.
I think he wants to make it into like a permanent gallery space. So
I was wondering if we could walk in a sec. I know you've got lots of people to speak to, but take a look at the main piece today, and so you could talk me a bit about it, if that's all right.
Yeah,
Right, so we're with Lucy, we're with the main commission now, which is huge, by the way.
It's huge. It's 12 foot long, and each of the panels is 5 foot high.
Wow.
So when I was painting this in my house, it was, it felt massive in my house, because on an easel, I was, the easel was kept hitting the ceiling in my house. And I couldn't lay them all out like this, so I had to lay them out on my drive, or I had to lay them out, in my garden and look down on them from upstairs to see if they all, if they lined up and if they all connected up. But it's really great to see it here. And the thing is, when Tim showed me the space and said, it's going to go there for now, it's going to go in the house, once this exhibition is finished.
What an honour.
Second floor. Yeah, I know, it's great. I mean, basically the idea of the piece is that it's a touchstone for him to be able to talk about, the history and the wealth and of connections that are in the house itself, and he can talk about, there's so much in it that there's, there's lots of different nuggets of information and history that he can talk about. I mean, there's two big personages here who are ancestors of him. Old Sir Rowland Hill, who was the original architect of the house. He was a Privy Councillor, and he was also a Mayor of London in, those are his dates at the top there, 1495 to 1561. And he designed the house, and there is a theory that he designed this house with the sacred geometry of the rhombic dodecahedron, which is this perspex form that's over there, and the house sort of makes this sacred form within the architecture. And then the rhombic dodecahedron itself is also connected to garnet crystals, which grow in the form of a rhombic dodecahedron. I didn't know that, now I do. Wow. And also there's a connection linguistically between garnets and pomegranates, because the word means seed. And then the seeds of the pomegranate, obviously, it's the stuff of legend. So the legend of Persephone, Hades played a trick on her game where she had to eat these seeds, and she ate 6 seeds. So 6 months of the year she lives in the underworld and 6 months in the overworld. So when she comes back up to the overworld, that's when it's spring and summer, and when she goes back down to the underworld, it's autumn and winter. And this is very much is a theme that's in my work, is about the wheel of life, the game of chance, life and death. There's a lot of celebratory imagery, and the pomegranate itself is an imagery of wealth and abundance. And it was to the Tudors as well, so they had a lot of pomegranate jewellery. They would wear pomanders on their belt to make the place smell nice. So we've got a pomander making activity downstairs, so all the kids are making those to hang on their Christmas tree. You can make one too if you want to, Alex.
Hey!
And there's lots of imagery to do with game and luck and chance, which are in all my paintings. So you've got Rubik's Cubes, you've got D&D dice, you've got a chessboard. There's actually a forecourt outside of the house called the Chess Court. And then this lady here, Hannah Deacon, she's a real feminist icon, because she, in sort of Victorian times, she devised this, it's called the dancing pavement, and there's an image of it downstairs, above the merch stand.
Above the merch stand.
Exit through the gift shop, yeah. So, but she designed this form here, which you can see also on the cushion over there.
Beautiful.
And then there's like a bit of a head thing to get yourself round. So apparently if you view a rhombic dodecahedron, if you view it in 4 dimensions, not sure how you can do that, it becomes a tesseract. Yes, I know, it's a bit Marvel. And then you can look through it and it leaves the shadow of this dancing pavement, apparently. So this is all in the work.
All ties in.
And it all ties in, yeah. And also, this is a Shakespeare. So Tim is very strongly believes that As You Like It was written by Shakespeare here, and he believes that the forest that is behind the house is the Forest of Arden. This is an Arden Shakespeare. So that's in it as well. That's, and there's a painting of Shakespeare's over there, which I've just sold. Hurrah! There's lots of little bits of games. There's imagery of life. I mean, corns are symbolic of life, and we see them a lot in South American imagery. Corn is it's part of the culture over there. So, and obviously, I spent a long time in South America in Lima. So there's a lot of this, and the neons, which are under the UVs today, so that you can really see them pop. Yeah,
you mentioned that it kind of glows in the dark. You mentioned that on the podcast.
And also, if anyone takes photos, it's a bit like we're in a nightclub, but it looks really different without the neons on, but it's funny because we came in to hang it and there was some blue light bulbs left from a theatre production that was here.
Cool.
So we turned it on and then suddenly everything went pow, like this.
Wow.
And I was just like, oh my God, we definitely need to do that.
Unlocked a whole new level.
Yeah, but the blue lights were a bit full on, so I changed them for these UV floods, and they're just enough to make that light feel like it's on. So you get the reflection on her arms.
Nice.
And here you've got the jungle and the light reflecting through the tesseract. So you've got that sense of illumination. And the three canvases have three. This one's called The Journey, the first one. The second one's called Transformation. So you've got life and death, the wheel of life and death. And here you've got enlightenment. So enlightenment, the UVs really help with that. And the neon colour palette is, it harks. I mean, I use a lot of neons. There's a lot of neons in all of the... And Tim put his neon signs for As You Like It or What You Will on the... Because it just all sort of fitted in with that sort of feeling of vibrancy, life-affirming, energy... So
I think what UV does as well, it gives you like a sense of excitement as well. I don't know, for me.
Yeah, no, I really wanted that. And it's funny because it really picks up these parts here, where the shadows are on the candles and the seeds down there. So like I thought it would be cool to put it on just for today, but I don't think he's suddenly going to have UV lights in Soulton Hall when he puts these, because they're going to go on the second floor of the house.
You mentioned as well that you didn't think it would be big enough. You thought, because it's big space, but I think you filled the space really well.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned about it, so that's why we hung this 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't sure whether it was just going to look too small. I didn't know whether I needed to frame it as well to make it feel more imposing. Once we put it on the wall, and I thought, actually, it's fine. So, but it may well go in the Shrewsbury Arts Trail next year, and if we do that, we might frame it for that.
Oh, that'd be nice. I think it looks amazing here as it is, but you've done an amazing job, because I know it's been on your mind.
It really has, yeah.
We were talking about it on the podcast. I'm impressed at how you filled the canvas.
Yeah, well, what I really like in here is that, because you've got this table that Kate, who's this interior designer, she's put together, it sort of feels very luxurious and abundant, and the composition of the whole thing is quite like a shrine. Yeah. So you've got these, the symmetry with the portraiture and the use of flowers and fruit is very like a Day of the Dead shrine. So that's what I really like about the way it's all sort of come together in sort of the form of this space as well. So I'm happy with that.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you so much
thanks for coming, Alex.
Putting on a great event. Thank you for inviting me. And for inspiring art as well. You're doing a great job. And
thanks so much.
Happy to have you back on the podcast anytime.
Well, we'll do. We should have a nice chat with some other artists.
We should interview artists.
Like an art... like 4 or 5 of us all chatting together.
Should we do like a really intense art factor?
Yes. Yeah.
Terrible. Take a lap.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Call that shading.
There used to be one, didn't there, on 11 o'clock on BBC Two? What was it called? I can't remember. Like lots of people sitting around. What was that program? There was like a cultural show. Was it the culture show? Yeah, like people talking about films and talking about art. We should do that. Cool.
Just be evil, mean critiques.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't have to be like that, but it would just be interesting to chat with other artists.
Why did I go straight to that though? I mean, that's weird, isn't it? Thank you so much. So there we go. Shorter episode this week because I wasn't at the event for an awful long time. I've been helping my son move house this weekend, so I did that, and then I did this, and then I went home. Just trying to balance everything out, but hey, it's good to take our time, and sometimes it's good to get right into it and be a bit more direct. Before we get out of here, I want to tell you about the great things that are going across the road at Biscuit behind the boom. Hold on, let me try that again. Let me turn my finger up. Where. Biscuit behind the boom. It worked that time. We've got a great new podcast that I've started that focuses on the inner workings of TV, movies, theatre and music. The idea is that I get to speak to people part of this industry. The names you see at the end of a movie on the credits as they scroll up the screen, who are these people? What do they do? What are their jobs? And this show has got off to a running start, and I mean a running start. We started off with Mick Strawn, a legend in the game. Worked on movies like Boogie Nights, Blade and Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all of these things. And then we spoke to Maria Hippolyte, who's worked on Wonder Woman, most of the Avengers movies, Black Panther, amazing stuff. And we've just spoken to Samuel Perry Falvey, who is probably one of the most talked about cinematographers on the planet right now. So, Biscuit Behind the Boom. It's available on Instagram. It's available on Spotify. Yet to get it onto YouTube Music, but it won't be far off. But you can give it a follow on Instagram and Facebook. So please give that podcast a follow. Lots of cool things going on there, as well as the Shrewsbury Biscuit. Now, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. That event was really, really cool. I love going to things like that. I have got a few ideas with the podcast, what we're going to be doing. Lots of people have been getting in touch. Sometimes it's really hard to sort of focus on who's coming on the show and when. I need to get things booked in way in advance, but we've got some amazing ideas. But if this is your first time listening, please give us a follow on social media. The Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast is on Facebook, it's on Instagram, and it's on TikTok. But all the information you need to know about us is at our website, which is the shrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk, and that's lovingly made for us by our friends over at Web Orchard. They will make a website perfect for you with whatever you want to do. Honestly, their stuff is amazing. They're doing some great stuff right now. And if you do go to them, right, say you listen to this podcast and go, oh, Alex says that Web Orchard are great, I'm going to go down and get a website because of what Alex said, just please tell them that's because I told you to go there. All right, because it makes me look great and gives me a pat on the back. That's great. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And like I said, a short one, but sometimes it's good to be direct. Get in, get out, save it for another day. You guys are awesome. I hope you guys stay safe. See you on the next one, guys. Peace out.